Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about assertiveness versus aggression because I've kind of talked about these things before, both in terms of kind of confidence and in terms of using anger and refocusing it into doing something constructive in regards to leadership and management, but I've never really sat down and really as kind of far as I can think, really defined what they are and gone, this is how to be assertive, not aggressive. And so let's first kind of define what we're meaning. So assertiveness is usually confused for aggression in certain places, and people who find it hard to be assertive tend to kind of supplement or possibly entirely substitute aggression for it because they just can't get their heads around it. And it requires a little bit of adjustment to your mindset. So assertive people tend to do these things. Assertive people tend not to be afraid of expressing their opinions and kind of standing up for themselves. You know, there's no shame in that. They're just willing to come out and say it, and they won't necessarily discount other people's thoughts and feelings by doing so. They will just go, look, this is where I am. They tend to treat others as equals, and they tend to have the focus on kind of an even exchange rather than kind of needing to get a leg up on someone or something like that. And you know they are not afraid to express their needs to other people because it's a rational and sensible thing to point out needs and requirements. They tend to look for that fair exchange of ideas and resources. They tend to be people who will stick to their word, or at the very least, kind of when they will invite people to speak. Again, you can tell a good leader in the way that they are assertive over a group, where they will actually invite people who have been quiet to speak because they want that input. And they will assert themselves over the group to allow that other person the floor rather than just taking control. And then they tend to try and avoid hurting other people, but they also try to look for compromise more so than anything else because a win without everybody else winning tends to be a problem that causes more fallout, and so the assertiveness, the control over that situation that they can apply, tends to be one that allows for maybe some things being dropped by the wayside, some compromises being made, but it allows for the greatest positive outcome because that's what makes most sense to them. That's where they want to go. They want to push for the most positive outcome in a given situation. Whilst aggressive behaviours tend to be the need to win, hurting people being considered just a product or a byproduct of whatever else it is that's happening. You know, oh, we can't make everyone happy all the time. There's no point in talking to these people. We just need to go and do it. You know, if they don't like it, fuck them. That kind of manager, that kind of person, probably supplanting or substituting an assertive attitude for an aggressive one. Aggressive people tend to come across as attacking. They tend to come across as self-focused, and you know they tend to try and push people down so that they can climb over them rather than trying to lift people up so they can be lifted in and of themselves. And it's difficult because again you look at certain people who are good leaders, good campaigners, and they will tend to be people that will acknowledge worries, acknowledge differences, acknowledge hardships, and they will try and make people understand. They will try and show people a way, or they will try and compromise. They will try and work together as part of a group while still remaining in control. Whilst then you look at people, for instance, there are a large number of people in politics at the moment that we can look at like this, whereby it doesn't matter if they hurt people as long as they get their way. It doesn't matter if they go and cause untold damage as long as they win. They will attack people and kind of smear them for the sake of whatever it is their cause is. You know, it's not a good thing, and this is another reason why we get upset with our leaders at the moment. You know, because they are doing all of these things, and inside we know that that's not the way that a leader should really be operating. And so, it kind of has us lose a little bit of confidence in them, and it makes us upset. But then the next thing that I want to go into is just like, how do we be more assertive and less aggressive? And the first thing is kind of the toughest, I think, for a lot of people. It can be for me. You know, I'm a D-type personality, and so as a result, one of the things that kind of characterizes a lot of people in the kind of D category for DISC is the kind of very, if you take me on, I'll take you down approach. You know, if someone steps to me, then yeah, sometimes it can be very hard to step away from just kind of going, no, you've started this, I'm going to finish it. There are two ways of doing that. There's the fighting fire with fire way, whereby everything burns, no one can breathe, and there's just a wasteland left afterwards. Or, which is the aggressive way, by the way, or there's the more useful way, which would be fighting fire with water, whereby you remain calm and you stick to the facts of things. You know, you remain composed. You know, rather than making demands for something, you ask questions. You try and take a more gentle, diplomatic approach to acknowledge and appreciate what's going on, rather than just someone has jumped at you and you're going to jump back. You need to take that moment to have that discussion, to develop that appreciation and discourse between the two of you, rather than just flames exploding from either side, yours and theirs. You know, so just taking a moment, realizing the you know, you're not going to get anywhere by blowing up in their face the way they have in yours, for instance. You know, I'll always remember at one point I got yelled at by a member of staff that was under me, and all it took was me sitting them down, handing them a cup of water, and actually asking them questions until they told me what was really going on. You know, if I had exploded back at them, which I think they kind of wanted, then it wouldn't have got anywhere. It wouldn't have been any kind of constructive situation at all. But by sitting them down, opening them up, being open to them, it allowed for a much better long-term solution that meant that member of staff wasn't a problem the day after, or you know, whenever after either that or that either. So it's important to take that moment and keep an eye on what's most useful for the entire scenario. How do you get a win for you and a win for everybody else? How do you make that a big success for everything that's going on, rather than just going, I won, I'm the best, fuck the lot of you. You know, that doesn't help anyone, especially if you're looking to lead or if you're part of a friendship group. It just doesn't work. You know, the next thing is, you know, when it comes to tasks, it tends to be the do as I say, not as I do attitude for aggressive leaders, aggressive managers, whilst there's a lot more kind of friendliness and approachable kind of ness in an assertive manager, because an assertive manager will go, or an assertive leader will ask a question. You know, what do you need to have this done by then? Could you get this done by then? This person needs some help. Would you be able to give them a hand? Rather than just coming in, barking an order and going, look, you need this done by this day, and if you don't, then I'm gonna fuck you. So and so needs help because they're a pain in the ass, so you've got to go help them, and if it's still not done by the time I get back, you're in shit too. You know, there are an awful lot of individuals who will do that. They'll get given a little bit of control, a little bit of power, and they will instantly start kind of going, nope, this is the way we do it. Not two ways. No two ways around it. This is the way we do it. And even if you can potentially present another opinion that would be more worthwhile, or just as useful, or more productive or whatever, they won't listen to it. If an assertive manager, assertive leader comes and says, can you have this done by end of the day, and you go, actually, I'm not sure I can because I've got this, this, and this, and I've got that, that, and that, and whatever else, then they can go, okay, well, how could we, what would you need to get it done? They'll lead on with other questions. They'll try and find a way for it to work for them and work for you, even if that maybe means them giving you someone else to hand some of your work off to, or them coming in and helping you, or something like that. They'll be more willing to get in on whatever is the best win-win situation overall. It's a control of the situation that they're a part of, as opposed to trying to step themselves well away from the situation and impose their will on it. The next thing is, there's a level of confidence involved in being assertive, and it's something that, again, I feel a lot of people struggle with, because when you're in a situation where you're having to discuss, when you're having to get involved with things, a lot of other people around you, especially people offering suggestions or doing things that maybe don't add up with what you're thinking, if you're not confident in yourself and your ability to do things or help out with things, or in your abilities full stop, then those other people are challenges, they're threats, even if they're below you. And so as a result, we tend to get defensive, and one of the best ways that we get defensive, one of the ways that gets us the biggest results that we can enact straight away, tends to be by aggression, imposing ourselves on other people, taking credit for their work, pushing them out of the way. And it's never productive. So what should you do instead if you want to assert yourself rather than, just attack? Well, simply put, good way of doing it is ask questions. Stick to facts. Yeah? If you've got information, then it's more worthwhile. It might not be in a public setting, it might not even be at work, but people want to be acknowledged for their contributions. They want to be acknowledged for the things that they're doing to help. And when they get acknowledged, they're more willing to do those things. So if you have those other people around you that maybe you think are more powerful than you in this situation, or better than you, or whatever else, simply put, acknowledge it. Tell them. Be thankful for the fact that they're willing to put their skills and their efforts towards the job that they're doing. Stick to the facts of the situation. Don't just kiss their asses. Go, you just did this in a way that I wouldn't have done. Great job. Thank you very much for making my life easier. That was one of my favourite lines when I was working with teams. But anyone that would actually make my life easier, anyone that would actually do a great job for me, I would go, I'd thank them for what they'd done, and I'd make a point of them knowing that they had made my life easier. Yeah, that their contribution had meant something to me, that my day was better because of them. And at times, those guys would go above and beyond for me sometimes, and I was always so thankful because, again, it meant that my day wasn't miserable. There are lots of people who don't like going to work, that don't like being in the situation that they're in. You can always make it better. And I realise that this is mostly a discussion that I'm having with those of you in responsibility at work, but it comes down to family life as well. Your kid might be great at doing something that threatens you. You might not like it. It might be something different. It might be something that's terrifying to you. But if they go and do it on your behalf to help you out, say thank you. Say thank you, appreciate it, make a point of kind of showing them that it meant something to them. If they give you some advice and you say, and it sounds good to you, don't go and only do it when someone else has gone and done it. If someone else has told you the same thing or whatever else, just go and do it straight away. It's not difficult. If your partner is trying to help, sometimes it will be a really hard pill to swallow because you have this idea of what you want to be and your responsibilities and how you want to do things. And you can keep striving for that, and I'm sure that your partner will believe in you for doing it. But when they actually try to help, even if sometimes maybe it doesn't help, because they've not communicated well enough that they intend to assist, they've tried, yeah? there's an appreciation there that needs to happen, and it needs to be a case of that person wasn't trying to sabotage you, they weren't trying to challenge you, they're trying to help. Stick to the facts. So sure, if they've caused you a problem, you need to kind of maybe go, I really appreciate you doing that. That was really great that you wanted to help, but it actually caused me a bit of a problem. So, you know, it's explaining it. It's letting that person know what's going on so that they can help you in a better way. They can maybe ask you what you want help with so that you can direct them. Yeah, it's never about turning people into your enemy. It's always about trying to make sure that those people know that you're all working together. Yeah, even if you don't like a person, you can still do these things. Taking a moment, stepping back, asking questions, sticking to facts, and just appreciating the effort that people put in. It's all stuff that you can do, you know. And nowadays you need the more persuasive, the more approachable way of handling people, because if you do it any other way, then it becomes a problem. And this works in relationships, it works in work, it works anywhere. Yeah, have those moments where you talk, where you're accepting, where you try and look for a win for both of you. Don't just try and impose, because it doesn't get you anywhere. You know, there are places where imposition is a thing that you should do, when you should be more aggressive and strike out. Not physically. Striking out physically is a bad thing most of the time, if not all the time, unless you're like a pro boxer or something. But when it comes to, you know, say an argument with a clerk because you're now a disgruntled customer because of some service you received or whatever else, there a bit more aggression is probably more worthwhile. Maybe not a lot, just a tad. But otherwise, most situations, including, to be fair, that one, an assertive attitude, an assertive approach was probably going to get you further, because you are going to look for a win for them and a win for you, and you can sort out the problem. Yeah? It doesn't exacerbate the problem by everybody feeling threatened. But anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You know, I'm sure that all of us have been at the mercy of shit bosses who have been aggressive and impositional, or imposing, and just out and out negative towards input and stuff like that. I'd love to hear your experiences. We could dissect them, we can have a chat about them. I could, you know, see about doing a video on them and seeing where those managers made mistakes so that we can all learn. We can talk about this in regards to family and anything. You know, I'd love to hear your experiences. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.